What's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about elastic pricing and inelastic pricing. It's a concept that I learned from The Power of Positive Pricing by MICHEL. So let's talk about it. What's up, guys? Like I said in the intro, this was from a book called The Power of Positive Pricing by MICHEL. I'm going to put the link below. You can't find it on Amazon. You got to buy it. I think it was from like Ron Smith's website, or I don't know, whatever group that Ron Smith is a part of. It might be shared in that group, but I had never heard of it before because I'm not in that group. But I heard about it on a podcast with Tommy Mello where he was interviewing, I believe it was Ken Goodrich, so the Gettle Heating Air guy. But I'm going to explain this the best I can. This was the biggest takeaway that I got from this book, and it's this concept of elastic and inelastic pricing. So we're going to talk about elastic pricing first. So stretchable pricing, right? It's elastic. So let's talk about service calls. Let's talk about how many phone calls come into your business every month. Let's say that you average 100 phone calls. We're just going to keep the math simple here. What if you average 100 phone calls and your diagnostic fee is $99? Well, if you go out and you're able to collect that every time, which is probably not, chances are you're not going to collect that every single time, but let's say you are able to collect that every single time. That would equal $9,900 total for your business for the month in total revenue, gross revenue. Well, this concept of elastic pricing is, what if we reduce that by $10, let's say? Would that allow you to book, say, 10 extra calls? That's the question. Because we're looking to get more business. Because if we can get more business, then I'll show you, we can make more money. So if you find that $99 price point of your diagnostic fee is keeping you from booking the call, and you're not able to overcome that quite as often as you'd like to, even if it's like 30 calls, say it's 30 calls a month that you can't book it and it seems to get hung up on the diagnostic fee. Now, there are ways to overcome that, other ways that I advise that you go check out Power Selling Pros. They can help you with that. But let's say, what if you just played with the diagnostic fee and you reduced it by $10? Well, then that would go down to $89, but you were able to book 10 extra calls. So that's a loss, right? I mean, even with the 10 extra calls, on the diagnostic fee, you're still taking a loss of $110. Now, what if your average invoice was $400? Let's say if you ran 100 calls at $400 average invoice, then you would earn $40,000 of gross revenue for your business for the month. But if you were able to do 110 and still keep your average invoice at $400, that's $44,000. So definitely more money, but you had to give up a little in order to do that. So the difference on your loss was $110 over here. So if we just take the $110 away from that, you end up with $43,890. Well, that's $3,890 you just gained. That's more revenue that is gonna still, fall wherever it fell before. So maybe that's the raise you've been looking for. By actually lowering one of your prices, you can actually give yourself a raise, or hire that next person, or give that particular person that deserves a raise in your company, go ahead and give them a raise. So it's just extra revenue for your company. So then he talks about inelastic pricing, and I'm not going to talk too much about this. There's not a whole lot to say. An inelastic price would be, you go out to the job, they don't have any cooling, they don't have any heating, and in order to get them heating or cooling, they need to replace this one part. Like, if we don't replace this, they're not going to have cooling, and it's hot, and it took you 3 days before you even got there. Well, that's a situation that's inelastic. Like, you don't have to, lower your price to get that sale. because you've got calls just stacked, to the brim, and you can't even get to everybody as fast as you'd like to already. So this is something that is inelastic. Like, you could probably even actually charge a little bit more, because look, the reality is we would love to stay steady all year, and if you've got a good marketing plan and you're very good on outbounding and follow up and staying in contact with your customer, and you run the sales process every time you go out, and you take your blinders off and you find every single situation that you can provide a solution to, and you offer that to every customer, then you're going to stay a lot more steady in your business. But if you're not doing any of those things right, and let's face it, it's really hard. That's what we're ultimately trying to build, is a business that does all of those things right. So it takes time to just structure everything properly and to get everybody trained and then maintaining it once it is in place. So that is the goal. But I'm just being honest and real here. The weather is still going to affect us, Even if you're able to get to that point where you stay steady during a typically slower season, it's still chaos, We all understand how this works. I mean, when it's extremely hot in the middle of summer, it's chaos. There's more calls than you know what to do with. Well, that's when your pricing can be inelastic. You may not even have to change this. You may be able to raise it $10 and raise this your average invoice by $100. You may be able to do that during those types of seasons. But the key to all of this, is to actually track it. You have to track it. It's the only way you're going to know. If you have a $1,500, if you have this item that you do sell, and let's say you got to know what that number is. How many of those items you sell a month? Let's say you sell 3 of them and they're $1,500. On average, you're selling 3 of them. Then that's $4,500 of gross revenue that you're bringing in. Well, what if you were able to reduce that to $1,250, and you're able to sell 5 more? So now you've sold a total of 8. So let's just do the math here. $1,250 times 8 is $10,000, right? Times 8. So now you've brought in $10,000 worth of revenue, and it only cost you 8 times 250, because you gave up $250 of that price, times 8. It cost you $2,000. So you walked away with $8,000 more revenue than you did selling 3. So you can play with this, and it's all a numbers game when it comes to this. It's just determining where's that price point where it sells easily. If you're constantly being rejected on a specific item that you offer and you would love to install on, when it makes sense to the customer. Sorry about the train. When it makes sense to the customer, if you would love to install that, like a Remy Halo or an air scrubber, those are great things because they're easy to install, great product, UV lights as well. But if you're having trouble getting the yes, well, you might try this, but you got to know your numbers. Know where you're at right now and where you would like to go. What's the goal? If we reduce this price, how many more could we sell and collect basically more dollars, and we'll still have the money to pay for all of our regular expenses. And during the summer, you don't have to really play too much with sales that much. I mean, it helps, but we're so busy we don't know what to do. But when it does slow down, this is what I'm talking about. When it slows down, play with these prices, like make them elastic and see what it can do for you. It will help you tremendously. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, comment below. I will share several links below. Also be sure to listen to the podcast, HVAC Uncensored, and go to that YouTube page as well. I also have another thing that I do with my coach, Miss Natalia Rodriguez, and we have Amplified Academy. So if you just run over to YouTube and give us a like right there, we're starting to record some of our conversations Tons of value given there as well. So love you guys. I'll share all the links below. Until next time, go make money. Hope you're doing well. Boom.